This is a video lesson, not a review, of a Matco TRA200F that I bought on eBay. And the reason I'm doing the video is that the wrench was advertised as excellent condition, but it was actually broken. And it's not that uncommon on eBay for this, and it's usually, I think, not because people are dishonest, it's because they don't know. They don't know how to tell if a ratchet or in this case a torque wrench is in good condition. They just kind of, it looks good, and they assume it's good. So here it goes. So here's the torque wrench. It actually is in really great cosmetic condition. So there is the serial number right there. And if I kind of go along here, you can see this ratchet looks pretty good. I mean, there's nothing major cosmetically wrong with it. But when you look a little more closely, here's an example of, here's the reversal switch. You can see it's kind of loose. You can actually see into the mechanism right there. If I turn it over here, you can see that the snap ring is not centered. And on a cheap torque wrench, that's probably not that uncommon. This is a Matco, so I would expect that to be centered. Matco being a nearly $400 wrench, I paid $130 for this. To the seller's credit, he gave me a refund, sight unseen, when I told him it was broken. So now if I take the square drive here, you can see I can wiggle that, and that should not move side to side like that, right? And if I try to turn it, it doesn't really want to turn either way. If I line it up just right, it'll turn, but that suggests there's something really, really wrong on the inside, like probably a broken spring is my guess. Another thing is here, if I go over to here, now where is it? There it is. Now, when you store a torque wrench, you should store it at the lowest level. This one was stored at about 100 inch-pounds, and when I got it, that's where it was set at. Now, if I back it off a little bit, down, it should have been stored at 30, which is the lowest setting on this wrench. And you can kind of see it in the video, not too well. There is a layer of oil. Further down I go, it becomes a little more evident. A layer of oil right here. Now that oil is not normally present on the body of a torque wrench. What that tells me is that this wrench was stored at that setting for an extended period of time. The owner said it was last used about a year ago by his neighbor, and guessing the neighbor didn't put it back to minimum. Again, when you lend out a torque wrench, that's what you can expect. People will treat your tools like garbage because they treat their own tools like garbage, and they'll treat yours worse than they treat theirs. So these are the kind of things you want to ask questions about and look for when you buy a used anything on eBay, but especially a ratchet or a torque wrench. Another thing that's common with a ratchet on eBay is the ratchet mechanism will be gummed up. In this case, this one's just broken, but it will be hard to turn. That happened to me once. I had to take the ratchet apart and clean it and reassemble it, and that was no fun. But yeah, that's just a little video lesson to help people make a better decision when they buy on eBay.